the Magic Online Champion inspired list with Wild Nacatl in the main deck. So it's not a pure burn strategy. It's in the Naya territory, but not as creature heavy as the build that we saw earlier on camera.
And we're going to get started here with a Monastery Swift Spear off of Sacred Foundry. Bobby going to play a Raging Ravine, and round number 8 here from Cincinnati is underway. Swift Spear, a great place to start, and this matchup I feel is pretty good for burn.
I talked with you about this in the room. Every time I play against Jund, I feel like I win 2 games to 1. The games that I win are extremely close, and the game that I lose, I get crushed.
Yeah, just get humiliated.
Get humiliated. Turn 1 Inquisition into turn 2 Tarmogoyf. All right, beat. Scavenging Goose. Feed the clan.
Game.
But, you know, if you're on the play, the draw's a little bit on the slow side. They don't have discard. They don't have a Tarmogoyf on turn 2. Usually you can cobble together 20 points before they get enough going.
Atarka's Command, going upstairs, trigger Prowess, grow the Swift Spear, attack for a bunch. Pretty good turn.
Yes, though I think that I would have preferred for Eric to lead with a Boros Charm there instead of the Atarka's Command.
Interesting.
Because if Bobby plays Tarmogoyf this turn, Atarka's Command giving +1/+1 moves the equation. Your Goyf's a 2/3, and now your Swift Spear is a 3/4. The other way, if Bobby has Tarmogoyf this turn, then your Swift Spear from trigger from Prowess to Boros Charm is a 2/3, and now they're just bouncing off of each other.
They just look at each other. Well, here's a Scavenging Goose. You can run past that.
Sure.
No creatures in the graveyard just yet either, so Scavenging Goose not really doing very much. Lava Spike the draw.
Great draw.
Yep. Light them up.
This is a pretty straightforward turn, like casting the burn spells. I would target Bobby with them.
Of the 2 people you can target.
Listen, I've gotten a lot of reps with this deck.
You know where the burn spell should go.
I know where this one's going.
That's good.
Bobby might have to chump block with his Scavenging Goose this turn.
There's Lava Spike going upstairs. Prowess Sugar as well. Swift Spear's a 2/3 coming into the red zone. Yep, Scavenging Goose already on blocking duty. Probably correct. Yep, Eric just says, that's fine. I'm not playing a spell. Your turn. Boros Charm at the ready. There's a Boros Charm going upstairs. Bobby fine. Not feeling so fine. Going to fall down to 5. Here's Kolaghan's Command, however, with Prowess on the stack.
Yeah, this is a really nice setup here for Bobby. I mean, he goes to 5. He can die to all sorts of stuff, but now he's hitting a point where life gain, something like Scavenging Ooze. If he has Hot Master of the Fells in his list, he could come back. Never mind.
Forget it. Boros Charm Lightning Bolt. See you later. Alligator. Eric Rill going to win game number 1 here over Bobby Fine. Burn quickly up a game against Jund. I feel like game number 1 is pretty favored for Burn.
And that's another spot where Eric might be better served just passing the turn on tapping and attacking there. Because if you connect with the Swift Spear, he goes down to 4 regardless, and then your burn spells finish him off. Ran a little bit of risk there with Kolaghan's Command. Fortunately for him, drew a bolt.
We'll take a look at the sideboards now. We will start with Bobby Fine and his Jund deck. You've got that in front of you.
3 copies of Kitchen Finks, 3 copies of Leyline of the Void, a Damnation, an Abrupt Decay, Night of Soul's Betrayal, Ancient Grudge, 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, 2 copies of Fulminator Mage, 1 copy of Olivia Voldaren. So the 3 copies of Kitchen Finks and the Abrupt Decay, those are great in this matchup. There are then some slower options or cards that don't always work. Like Damnation is okay in certain spots, but the burn lists are often light on creatures, and it's easy to be overloaded with too much creature removal, not enough life gain. Same thing is true of Anger of the Gods. Olivia Voldaren, I think, is an okay way to close out the game. So the Kitchen Finks and the Abrupt Decay comes in for sure, then there's some secondary options Eric has.
Taking a look at the sideboard here for Rill. 2 Path to Exile, 3 Searing Blaze, 2 Skullcrack, an Exquisite Firecraft, 4 Destructive Revelry, a Deflecting Palm, a Rending Volley, and a Soulfire Grandmaster hanging out.
So in this matchup, I've typically liked to get away from the creatures. Jund brings a lot of removal, and they block very well, and I like becoming more of a burn deck post-board. I think Path to Exile, Searing Blaze, Skullcrack, Exquisite Firecraft, even Deflecting Palm are all valid cards to bring in. It depends how heavy Eric wants to sideboard, though. People have different opinions on how many creatures you can really leave in against Jund. I think when your deck's already on the creature to light end of things, like Eric's is, you're best served just bailing on it, because you end up getting draws with 1 creature, it runs into a creature removal spell, and then you don't have enough burn to finish off the game. So Eric has a lot of different ways he can approach it. He can go pretty extreme and cut a lot of creatures for some burn spells, some of which are marginal, or he can keep it pretty straightforward, just bring in a couple paths and some Searing Blazes.
Some decent options here, though.
Yep, he has a lot of different ways he can approach this. If he thinks his creatures are good, he'll sideboard light. If he really wants to get away from his creatures, which I like doing especially on the draw, then I think he's going to bring in a lot more burn.
Okay. Well, those are the options for both players, and Bobby Fine will be on the play, looking to play a few more turns this go around. We'll see if he's able to do that. We'll talk about the YouTube page here with Star City Games right now, however, where you can watch a replay of this match, this Open, and a whole bunch more.
Ton goes up on this webpage, including archives of Versus Series videos, premium archives, Open Series archives, and some content that's exclusive to the YouTube page, like unboxings. Head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames, become a subscriber today. It is free, and you will get updated when new content is uploaded to the site.
You say it's free?
Free.
Wow. Unbelievable. Become one of 60,000 subscribers. YouTube.com/StarCityGames. Getting ready here for game number 2. Eric Rill is the feature player here. Get 4 Open Series titles for Eric Rill. 25 years old from Dayton, Ohio. No, excuse me. I take it back. 5 wins. I thought it was 5.
Yep.
I thought it was 5 of these things that he's won already. The last one actually during season number 3, but he's got 9 Open Series top 8s. A graduate from OU with a degree in psychology. I'm from Ohio.
You know who's also an Ohio University graduate?
I know many of them.
Sideboard's Nick Miller.
Very true.
Ohio University grad.
Started playing Magic when he was 5, giving Chris Anderson a little run for his money. Some young players here. Wrestled and played soccer during his high school years, as did I. I did both.
2 of Ohio's favorite sons. A lot of shared passions.
Yes. We've been playing Magic forever. We've been kicking around the soccer ball and throwing people into the ground. Maybe that's why I like Eric Rill so much. I like his opening hand, even though it's being targeted by Inquisition Kozilek. There's an Eidolon over there, Lightning Bolt, a Lava Spike, Grim Lava Mancer, and a couple of lands. I think you probably got to take that Eidolon.
A lot of it depends on what's going on in Bobby's hand. If Bobby has a turn 2 Tarmogoyf, I think it's reasonable to take Grim Lava Mancer out of the hand because Goyf races those tools pretty effectively.
Okay.
But there's also an argument for getting a creature and enchantment out of there. The Grim Lava Mancer allows Eric to manage a Tarmogoyf pretty effectively. So, and it might be the most powerful card in his hand in a long game. So, generally speaking, if I'm in the Jund spot, I want to take the Lava Mancer, but a lot of it just depends on the specifics of Bobby's hand.
Well, there's the Grim Lava Mancer off of Sacred Foundry. Bobby going to play a Verdant Catacomb, sacrifice that. Going down to at least 19, potentially more. There's a basic forest, however, so 19 sounds good. Let's see what comes next here for Bobby Fine. Got ran out of the gym in the first game. Here's a Tarmogoyf.
And this is why I would have selected the Lava Mancer. Now Rill can go Lightning Bolt your Tarmogoyf and then remove... I suppose there's no way for him to get everything he needs to out of the graveyard. Because there's a land and a sorcery and an enchantment creature on the other side.
Sure. So it's actually hard to do.
Right.
So he could use the Lightning Bolt and Grim Lava Mancer to kill Tarmogoyf.
Yes.
But he can't do it the easy way.
Right.
Sure.
But Tarmogoyf is so good in the matchup that if I'm in Bobby's position, I'm really prioritizing that one. Especially because Bobby's not bringing a lot in the sideboard. I've run into Jund lists that have things like Feed the Clans. They can really dial up the anti-burn hate. He's only working with a couple copies of Kitchen Finks. So Tarmogoyf is still one of his best weapons in the matchup.
So I guess Eric's play this turn can be Lightning Bolt your Goyf, put 3 damage on it.
And then he can exile the Eidolon and the Bolt, leaving a sorcery and land in both graveyards.
Correct.
And then it's just
And then that'll get it off the battlefield. I don't know if that's the best use of his cards.
Right, and the other thing is, it's the Lava Mancering Bobby at 19 versus using it on the Tarmogoyf is not that big of a difference. Yes, you'd like to have Lava Mancer around, but it's not a huge deal. So Eric can manage this in a variety of ways, but it's important for him to get the Tarmogoyf off the table because then he's got a lot of time to work with.
I mean, that Tarmogoyf is just so big already. I just want to get it off the battlefield if I can. I mean, Eric did draw a copy of Wild Nicottle, so he's being, I guess, pulled in a couple different directions because I imagine he wants to get that on the battlefield and rock and roll and do stuff, but I don't know if his hand's really going to allow him to do that.
I mean, the other route he could take here is just casting the Nicottle and saying go and turning it into a bit of a race.
Okay.
The risk there is if something happens to the Lava Mancer, Rill may not get another opportunity to take down the Tarmogoyf.
And that's the scary part.
Yeah. And Jund can race with you. They've got good threats. They got spot removal. They're definitely the control deck in the matchup, but that doesn't mean they can't turn up the heat.
That's part of the appeal of Jund, is that they actually can turn up the heat. There's Nicottle. All right, let's go back this way to Bobby Fine. He's got his Tarmogoyf, 2 lands, Tassiger and Abbott in hand. been starting to see Abadakiro keep working its way into Modern a little bit.
I believe
here.
there was one copy in Joe Herrera's winning list last week.
Correct.
We saw a little bit of the card. It has not really taken off in the Snapcaster Mage style decks that some people have predicted, but we're starting to see it in Jund.
It's starting to weave its way into things now. People really want to give it a try. I think understandably so. Pretty good card.
Seems well suited for a deck like Jund. Doesn't play well with counter spells, so it's kind of hard to fit in some of the blue decks, but Jund is all proactive stuff. So much more natural fit there.
Another Tarmogoyf here. Rill just going to draw. Picked up a copy of Boros Charm. Curious to see what happens if Rill just comes in with Wild Nacatl.
Wild Nacatl is a pretty safe attack here because worst case scenario, he can go, assuming Bobby makes a block here, make Wild Nacatl indestructible, Lavamancer to finish it off.
Now here comes the 3/3. It's an interesting spot here for Bobby. Not too sure what Eric is up to.
Well, Bobby didn't attack, so I assume he's blocking.
Yeah, if he's not attacking, he's blocking, right? It's one of two things. I'd be very surprised if he's just taking.
Especially against Lavamancer. And Bobby's list here, not a lot of life gain. You know, these points really add up. When you have something like Feed the Clan in your deck, you can afford taking these shots and making sure your Tarmogoyf stay alive, turn the game into a race. Bobby, just with a couple copies of Kitchen Finks and his copies of Scavenging Ooze.
Well, he did just take the damage. It's a little bit surprising to me.
You know, now you look at Eric's hand here. Boros Charm, Lava Spike, Lightning Bolt, Lavamancer in play. Bobby could get burned out of this game over the course of 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, you just counted 12 damage.
Yeah. And the Lavamancer is going to do a lot to prevent Bobby from being able to race back because that's going to shrink the size of the Tarmogoyf.
Might be time to go spiking. Looks like it's going to be Lightning Bolt. Maybe a little surprised to see Eric change gears here a little bit.
I'm not too thrilled with this play. I think with Bobby going to 16, the issue that I have with this line of play is that if Bobby draws a way to kill Grim Lavamancer, suddenly Bobby's spot is he has a Tarmogoyf in play, his life total is pretty high, and you have a bunch of Lava Spikes in your hand. And that's a pretty hard way to try to win the game.
Might be time to go spiking now, and it is. So Fine going to fall down to 11.
My criticism of this line is I think that if Eric goes and tries to ignore the Tarmogoyfs and just tries to burn Bobby out, he's exposed to life gain. This way, he's still exposed to life gain, and creature removal spells are now also really bad for him.
Here's Abbott. Top card, Verdant Catacombs. So, that'll enter the battlefield.
It's a big one here. You can see Bobby's floundering a little bit. Needs mana. I don't think he has anything else to do with his turn, though.
Yeah, all of his spells are so expensive. However, Grim Lavamancer can shoot that thing down pretty quickly. Nacatl could work its way into the red zone again. Rill gonna untap. Time for him to take a draw. Looks like at least one Boros Charm Swift Spear was the draw. There's Stomping Ground. There's Swift Spear. Time for beatdowns. If you're Bobby, I think you understand I have to play around one spell because my opponent has one card in hand, and then a Grim Lavamancer activation.
Yep.
I don't know what that spell is, but you know, you can start to check off some boxes. What's worse, what's second worst, things like that.
I mean, the worst case scenario are the 2-mana spells. It's a target's command.
Boros Charm.
Yeah, those are the real bad ones. And with Eric playing a dual land untap before combat, probably represents a 2-mana spell alongside a Lavamancer activation.
Here's Boros Charm. Looks like that's going upstairs. Puts you down to 7. That'll trigger Prowess too. instant in the graveyard right now, so Tarmogoyf grows a little bit. But Nakatl's going to die. Abbott will die. I think we're going to see Grim Lavamancer finish off the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah. I mean, it frees up the Swift Spear. It'd be one thing if this Lavamancer activation was getting Bobby down to 4, because 4 is a number that you have single spells that do that. But with it getting down to 5, you're on 2 draw steps anyway, so you're better served getting the Tarmogoyf off the table.
And Tarmogoyf is off the table now. Rill's used all of his resources. He'll just pass the turn back now. Final's going to go down to 6. Figure out what land he wants to search up. It'll be a Ravnica Duel that enters the battlefield tap. That much we know. It's going to be an Overgrown Tomb.
But you can see Eric's spot here, for as good as things have been going, he is vulnerable to a lot of things. You can feel it. Bobby's got some life to work with. Eric has no hand and not a whole lot in play, which is why I was not a huge fan of Eric trying to maintain the board.
Here's a Kitchen Finks to mess some things up. Fine up to 8.
And when you try to split the gap and be a Lava Spike deck that's also managing the board,
Oh, that's how you lose.
well, Kitchen Finks is the worst case scenario because the Lava Spike plan is way worse and the manage the board plan is much worse. Hard to slog through this thing.
Didn't get a great look at Rill's draw step. He can still work himself out of this. Kitchen Finks isn't the end-all be-all. Grim Lavamancer is active, so Bobby finds it a virtual 6.
This is a big step 1, though. Because if something happens to the Lavamancer, now you're locked up on the ground. The thing that's going well for Rill here is I think that Fine could have been more aggressive attacking with his Tarmogoyfs. Because Rill's still at 12, he's got a lot of draw steps left in this game.
Lightning Bolt the draw. It's actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, with Tassiger in hand, you know, Bobby is starting to transition over into being able to attack.
Here is Tassiger. Gonna delve away a bunch of stuff. And if I'm fine, I gotta get attacking.
Yeah, Kitchen Finks needs to start getting in there. Especially with Lightning Bolt backup here.
I just like lightning bolting that Grim Lavamancer.
It's, you know, you can either killing the Lavamancer, going after Eric, whatever, but, you know, you have an incentive here to get aggressive because things can only go so poorly for you.
Rill's gonna fall to 9. Now, the only reason I like lightning bolting the Lavamancer is by leaving it on the battlefield here, he's gonna get activation down to 6, and then if he gets on tap with it, he's down to 4, and then the 4 damage spell's working it in.
Exactly. I would bolt the Lavamancer after Eric is done targeting.
So that's on the stack. Now, of course, you know, I prefer to save the Lightning Bolt to go upstairs with, but Bobby doesn't have the necessary mana to cast Terminate because of that basic force. So I think you got to cash in the Bolt here. At least it feels that way.
The problem with not bolting here is that Rill can chump block for a turn or 2. So it's not like you untap, attack him, and bolt him out. That's not going to be happening here. And you incur some serious risks falling to 6, allowing Eric to keep the Lavamancer. Now, I suppose Bobby's thinking he only has 1 card in the graveyard, so he would have to cast a spell first, and then in response I can kill the Lavamancer. But I'm not trying to get into that sort of, all right, let's get some spells on the stack here and Eric can sneak this out. I like Bobby just playing this safe and getting the Lavamancer off the table.
5's gonna fall down to 6 from that activation. So you see life totals here, 9-6 in favor of Eric Rill at this point. The question is, what is that card in Rill's hand? Because he has definitely changed his demeanor since drawing that. Trying to show some strength here is Rill. Might be a Swift Spear here. Yeah. Four damage spells will be game over. Exquisite Firecraft, Boros Charm. It'll bring him down to 2. Swift Spear will trigger off prowess. You can slide on by.
Atarka's Command is also lethal.
Yep. But we do not have a great look at what the card is that Rill has at this point. He has been hiding that from us. So we're going to head back, Bobby Fine's way. He'll draw a card. Now, he does have a copy of Fulminator Mage in hand, so if he wants to cut Rill off a white mana for Boros Charm, he has the option to do that. We know about the Terminate. Just picked up a copy of Bloodstained Mire, though. Falling to 5 might be a little scary here.
A lot to consider. I don't think Bobby's turn can simply be Fulminator Mage and cut you off white.
Gonna have to do better than that. Well, he's getting hyper aggressive now. Boy.
Yeah, this strikes me as a very aggressive attack here.
Gonna knock you down to 6. Rill only willing to block with 1, too.
Yeah. It's hard for Bobby to kill him from 6. We're looking at 2 bolts, and he would have to have red mana.
Well, he's feeling confident. Draw a card.
Looks like Bobby is sitting on Terminate.
Terminate Kolaghan's Command. Those are the 2 instant speed spells. Rill just has to pass the turn back yet again. I think I may have liked well, it's tough. I may have liked the Kolaghan's Command there to try to kill the Swift Spear and make him discard.
I would at least cast Terminate and see what's going on.
Well, so
I guess he wants to be able to kill his own Kitchen Finks
yeah,
in
that's
case
what
he
I was
gets
gonna
burned
say.
out.
Yep. He's got the cute play lined up. I think if you're going to get really aggressive last turn, you got to do it again. Can't change now.
It's just tough here because Bobby has a lot of cards in his hand and he's not casting anything.
Yep.
And there's no guarantee that killing his own Kitchen Finks in response stops him because the last spell Eric is using to finish off could easily be a Tarkus Command or Skullcrack.
Tarkus Command was the draw and Skullcrack in hand too.
I mean, I think that's going to lock it. If Bobby's only play here is kill my Kitchen Finks in response, that's not going to be good enough.
Sure, because you respond with the
right.
They both stop you from gaining life.
Exactly.
Gotcha. These 2 cards actually line up great for Rill. Unbelievable.
Yeah. If this locks him out of, if a Tarkus Command resolves, then it's safe because this bubble is on the entire turn. And if he responds, then Eric can simply Skullcrack.
So this is going to be a Kolaghan's Command. It's going to deal 2 damage to my Finks and make you discard a card. But unfortunately here for Bobby Fine, Rill drew the perfect set.
Yep.
There's Skullcrack. And that is going to do it. Eric Rill's going to win this match over Bobby Fine. 2-0. Burn taking down Jund. And Eric Rill, 5-time Open Series champion, is 7-1 here in Cincinnati.
And I think that a big thing from that match to take away from the Jund side of the table is sometimes you got to take some risks. From a turn-to-turn perspective, Bobby was doing fine. You know, he was managing the board just fine. He was attacking when he got his shots to do it, when it felt really safe. But as a result of playing so conservatively in some spots, he allowed Eric additional draw steps and died with 4 spells left over in his hand. Not just any spells, but relevant spells too. He could have been using a removal spell on a Swift Spear to be attacking a little bit more aggressively.